Morning, everybody. It's Monday morning, day 3 of being um, back on my medicine, which is very uncomfortable, kind of. Got a little bit of the shakes, but I'm getting over it. Um, Actually, August of 23, I was put on it, and it took me about 5 days. Um, okay, so this morning, here's my little thoughts. Um, I ran into a gentleman the other day in Dunkin' Donuts, and we had a spiritual moment as well as experience strength and hope, and he put some things into perspective. I mean, it was the way I felt, but more in a spiritual line of understanding, I guess. There's this thing that people talk about as karma, and I've been saying it myself, like, oh, my karma's through God, blah blah blah. I don't necessarily think today that it's karma. I think what it is basically um, people make decisions on self will, and that self will run riot. Um, and when I sit here and I think, I'm like, okay, I get angry, I get upset, all this crap going on, but then I ask God to take it, and it's gone. But then sometimes what we do is we take it back, and I'm famous for that. But today I'm sitting here and I'm doing my morning meditation, and I'm not really a godly woman. I'm more spiritual, which is to me a personal relationship, and I'm so honored to have that. Um, but back to what I was saying. See, God chastises, which is a form of discipline. As a parent, we will chastise our children or redirect them in manners of good faith. Do it along the lines of love and understanding and respect. Um, but when you go through a situation as mine, it's mind boggling. But had I not, or have I not, have my faith, I probably wouldn't have made it thus far. Because I sit here and I think, well, they're running on self will. And that's where God really gets in and he really starts to say, okay, I'm going to take over here. Let me chastise my children because that's my job. um, they're running on self will, which means they're not running on faith. They're running on themselves. Self will is running on yourselves for yourself. Um, and I firmly believe that what we do is not always for ourselves. It should be for God and for the spiritual understanding of today's world. So that's how I let go. Give you a little understanding. What I do is I remind myself that I choose not to run on self will. God to me is the gift of determination to not use my self will, do unto others as I would want done unto me. And I continuously do that in my life and have tried for years to, not so much manifest, but spread grace, happiness, smiles, because maybe it can be very contagious and maybe it'll just like a domino effect. But today I sit here and I'm trying to figure stuff out in my head, and I want to see my son, and I want to know who did this, and I want to know who did that, and that will drive you crazy from time to time. And I have to remind myself that I am not of this, meaning God did not create me like that. Um, I'm not of ill will. I don't even carry the word hate because it is something that is just too heavy. And I have to know that when I forgive, it's kind of like letting go. It's releasing me from all the anger, the disgust. So I work on that every day. Today's, you know, uh, it's a beautiful day. Still adjusting, like I said, to the medicine. But had I not, again, I have to reiterate, had I not had my faith, I don't think I really would have made it. And I can't even put myself in the thought of what if or what would I've done because that's not how I think. So I guess what I'm trying to say is really when you're going through something really hard or something you can't understand, and you just got to get to the bottom of it. You got to figure it out. I've always been a let me figure it out. I can fix it and overthink. But I'm learning more and more every day that to let go and let God and then not take it back um, is a release. Will I still think about it? Yeah, I will. Probably because as humans we want answers to things, and sometimes there are just really no answer. It is what it is, and that's a weak statement I feel to say, but I have to say that to know that God will take care of it. He will chastise. He will bring forth whatever he feels necessary. um, and I'm grateful for the fact that I'm not like them. um, and I don't mean to sound racist or anything like that. What I'm trying to say is that it breaks my heart that somebody could be so vindictive, so mean, and just blatantly put a bunch of nonsense out there and think it's justified. But I have to remember some of us are sicker than others. And I have to be grateful for the fact that I would never do this to somebody or want this done to me. Oops, sorry, everybody. So, you know, uh, self will run riot, and I'm grateful I don't run on self will today, and I didn't then. When I went to Acts and changed my life, I did it for not just me, for everybody that was in my life, for God, and I wouldn't change it, for the world. Even going through this, I still wouldn't change it. I can't. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm probably rambling, but it's just something that I do to remind myself of how great of a person I am and how grateful I am that God is creating this woman when everybody else has been trying to create her. He's always had me. When everybody else tried to play God, he's been there. When everybody else walked away and turned their back, he was there and still is. Yeah, always. Okay, everybody, have a great day. Love you.